Hello, Tumblr, YouTube world. It's Alfonso. I am finally making the actual video that I said I was going to make about the things that happened last weekend. And I'm switching through Windows trying to find the list of things that I wrote. So, the list of things. First, let's do my haircut first. My haircut, I cut my own hair for the first time ever. It's at a number 6 right now, or as of last Sunday, which is really exciting. I bought myself clippers and I cut my hair. And my goal for this weekend, among many other things, is to become adventurous enough to attempt to do a shorter number in the back. We'll see whether or not that actually happens. I'm a little bit scared to mess up terribly. But yeah, so number 6 all around. I might get it shorter. I'm gonna stop talking about my hair. So, how fabulous my mother is. Oh my god. So in the last video, I was all like, yeah, I came out to my mom and she was like cool about it as far as coming out goes. Completely misphrased that, by the way. She was like amazing about it, and so I don't remember if I mentioned in the last video that kind of the main reason was I wanted to tell her my name so that we wouldn't show up at the conference and just have her be like, why are these people calling you Alfonso, what is going on? Because I was going to be meeting up with people that I know. So I showed up at her house on Friday and she was out, and by the time she got back I was sleeping, and the next morning it was like as if nothing had happened. It was normal, like awesome. And we drove down to Philly. It was about an hour-and-a-half drive, and I gave her like a queer 101 talk, different terms, and I really hope you can hear me. Okay, my windows are open and I have music playing. Well, fingers crossed. And yeah, so I think the hardest term to explain was pansexual, because she couldn't think of other contexts in which you would use the prefix pan. And the only thing I could think of was panhellenic. And I was telling someone this story and they mentioned another word, which I can't remember right now. But anyway, she ended up getting it, and it was cool because when we showed up, they had these little demographic surveys for you to fill out, and one of the question was, what is your sexual orientation? And one of the options was pansexual, and I pointed and I was like, look, it's like I told you, it actually exists. So that was cool. And yeah, she at one point walked over while I was, I think, at the self-made men table, possibly the stand to urinate, not urinate, urinate. And there's just a table full of Packers and STPs. She just walked over casually and was like, oh, what are you looking at? And I was like, oh god, look away. She was like, whatever, like. And at one point, when we had come back home, oh no, it's because they had harnesses for the STPs and Packers on the table, and I was like, and I picked one up, like I was interested in getting it. She was like, don't buy that, I can make you one. And I was like, what? You're gonna make me a harness? Are you kidding me? It was awesome. And then when we got back home, she made one, and a friend of mine, a trans guy, he ended up staying at my house, so he was with us when this happened, and he was like, oh, make sure you make the waist part really tight because the packy will weigh it down a little and like stretch it out. And my mom was like, oh, maybe you should like try it out. And I was like, okay, but you can't look at my penis. And, like being super shy, like just ridiculous. And she was like, listen, if you had been born with one, I would have seen it many times, so stop it. It's just like, I'm still blown away by how awesome she is in that sense. So yeah. So I also mentioned on Tumblr that I had to tell you all about the things my mommy made for me. I don't call her mommy, I call her mami in Spanish, but in English I like saying mommy and mother and mama bear. Anyway, not the point. She made me the harness thing, which ended up breaking when I tried to put it in. But the point is that she made it for me, which is really cool. And she will be more than happy to fix it, I'm sure, whenever I see her again. She also cut my binder for me, which was really cool. So I had the Underworks 997, the long one, and I had this little show and tell. This little brown things from where it was like cutting into me on both sides. So she ended up cutting it for me, and that's what my stomach looks like. So sometimes I fold it up to the top, sometimes I just leave it as it is right now. Yeah, so things that she made for me. And I also needed to tell you about the grand old time I had in Philly at the Trans Health Conference. That's what I sound like when I read. See, can't even tell. It was amazing. And if anyone is ever debating whether or not to go to a free trans conference, have the economic means to make it there, I would definitely say do it. It was really awesome to just be surrounded by a whole bunch of trans people and their supporters. And it was, I can't even like fully express how amazing it was. There was I'm gonna change the sound here then. Okay. Like my party music for some reason. Alright, gaga. I went to a panel for masculine presenting survivors of sexual abuse and domestic violence, that type of thing. So it was really cool to be in that space. I also went to a bunch of top surgery binding things, and by a bunch I mean 2. So the first one was open to all trans guys, trans masculine presenting, or anyone interested in top surgery really. And they just had a whole bunch of people who had top surgery done with their shirts off. So if that causes any dysphoria or discomfort, maybe ask before you walk into one of those whether or not that will be happening. But I sat really far away, so I'm like not completely ready to face that up close as like a thing that I will be doing in the future. Because I work slowly processing things. Realities settling in and whatnot. I'm babbling a little, sorry. And that was cool because they also talked about their surgeons and their opinions of them in general. And then I went to one that was specifically for people of color, which was cool because they talked more about binding and different ways of binding and ways of caring for binders. And I left before it was over because I was a little bit uncomfortable for my own reasons. And yeah, I think that's all I went to. I hung out with my mom all day at a trans conference with a whole bunch of trans people. It was really cool. And I got to meet Andrew. Shout out to Andrew. Hi, Andrew. For like 30 seconds. And we hugged and said hi. And then he went to take a nap, which is totally okay. Napping is important. Sleep was good. And then I hung out with another friend, Jason, and with Kai, and I'm sweating. I think that's really all I did. I had a lot of good food. Spent a lot of money on food. Alright, this is a 9-minute video already. I'm going to stop and then possibly make another video telling you about how I came out to HR at work. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Maybe tomorrow. Alright, have a beautiful day. Whatever day it is that you end up seeing this. And stay classy, San Diego. Something like that. Bye.